What story or what was the thing that kicked it off? There were controversies that were going on. What kicked off this idea, this need to start something new, Pedro?
Okay. So, as you know, we both started with where Peter is. Okay. Uh, and we started mostly as apologists. And one of the episodes that really changed much of our perspective was the alleged Pachamama controversy, in which some people were accusing the Holy Father of um, promoting a pagan ceremony in the Vatican. And I thought that would be odd, a pope uh, promoting paganism. So I just went and saw the whole ceremony from beginning to end, and I noticed that something was odd. The ceremony was thoroughly Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was this segment of 5 to 10 minutes in which suddenly, supposedly, the ceremony began as a Catholic. Then there's these 5 to 10 segments, 5 to 10 minute segment that is pagan supposedly, and then it returns to being Catholic, without without any context. Without That seemed odd to me. And then I noticed that the natives that presented that statue to the Holy Father did
Mm-hmm.
not refer to it as Pachamama. They referred
Okay.
to it as Nuestra Señora de la Amazonía,
Mm-hmm.
Our Lady of the Amazon in Spanish. And it seems like this might, since this was in Spanish, some people might not have noticed that. So I immediately started writing on an article about what I had found. And then from that point onward, it seemed like when new stuff appeared regarding the Pachamama, I was able to investigate more, give replies, and there was some back and forth uh, with what was appearing live
Mm-hmm.
about this controversy, and eventually it moved to other controversies as well, and I'm reminded of the controversy of a nativity scene in the
Right.
Vatican, in which it was a modern art, and everyone was saying, "I don't understand this. What does this mean?" And
Mm-hmm.
I started sending some emails,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually I reached out to. An art teacher that was also that knew about that school that had produced
Mm-hmm.
that nativity scene. She knew the backstory of that nativity scene, and I interviewed her. And from that point onward, Claire, and the pandemic then hit,
Mm-hmm.
and Claire said to me, "You really have a knack for this, for this investigation. Investigate. Why don't you try
Oh,
to?"
yeah, I recommended to him to attend an online journalism course
Mm-hmm.
through London School of Journalism. Then he took it and graduated with flying colors. So yeah,
And yes,
the rest is history. Yeah.
yes, and Claire really gave me this idea and supported me all the way. So, and now she is also
Uh,
following that. She's also
yeah,
taking her own course of
some
journalism
courses.
on the
Yeah.
London
Amazing.
School of Journalism. So,
That's fantastic. Well, hello, friends. Welcome. We're chatting today with Pedro and Claire. They live in Portugal. You're relatively near Fatima, aren't you?
200 kilometers.
Okay, closer than us in America. Anyhow, uh, they have started a project called The City and the World, and it's a news and reporting and journalism site for Catholic culture and perhaps commenting on controversies and stuff. It's sort of a sister project, perhaps, to where Peter is. But one of the things that excited me to have Pedro and Claire come and share a little bit about themselves and their project is that. Um, when it comes to a lot of reporting around things happening in the Catholic world, or especially the Holy Father, if you're in the First World West and you only speak one language, then you're limited to the information who you can talk to. And Pedro has repeatedly uh, just gone on these systematic rabbit holes, investigative trips to speak with other people in other languages some of them who, of course, agree, very deeply with the Holy Father, living in Brazil or in different places around Europe, and has brought to these discussions, he's enriched these discussions with a ton of material that we would never have otherwise known to consider. So, can we take a moment? I want to hear about your stories. What's your background? What are your day jobs? What do you do? And then let's talk about your new project here. Pedro, would you like to share a little bit of your story?
Okay, so I am Pedro. I am an oncologist residing here in Portugal. I am Claire's husband, and since a very young age, I started doing apologetics, namely, precisely when there were so many fake news about Benedict XVI coming around on secular media. And afterwards, with Pope Francis, though with Pope Francis, those fake news emerged mostly from some kinds of Catholic media.
Mhm.
And so I do that. I do apologetics on that regard, and I write fiction, nonfiction, and now journalism.
Now a
And your
journalist.
day job is
Or it's oncologist. I'm an
psychologist.
oncologist.
So
Wonderful.
I'm
Claire.
Claire. I'm Pedro's wife. Well, I'm a software engineer. That's my first job before, and then I ventured into cybersecurity. So that's on the day job, and
Mhm.
then on the side, back in the Philippines, I was also into apologetics and those theological discourses
Mhm.
online. That's how I met Pedro, by the way. And then I had projects. I was active in the pro-life movement. Yeah, certain groups there.
Mhm.
So yeah, I
Wonderful.
think that's pretty much it.
So the two of you have started this journalism website called The City and the World. Is it right now just you two? Is there anybody else involved? Do you plan to have more people involved?
For now,
For now, it's just a project of us as a couple.
Okay.
it's a
Um,
couple project.
yes, it's a
Okay.
couple project at this moment.
Beautiful.
The idea is precisely we think that there is a need for Catholic journalism
Mhm.
in with an angle, a perspective that is faithful to the Holy Father.
Mhm.
Okay, it's not apologetics per se,
Mhm.
it's more precisely journalism,
Mhm.
and not simply being faithful to the Holy Father, because there are some other agencies and news sites that are like
Mhm.
Vatican News, for instance, but also trying to address fake news, that
Okay.
trying to clear those fake news, trying to get to the bottom of the truth. So
Mhm.
mostly investigative journalism
Okay.
that yeah.
Yeah. It's not so much that we put the content there very fast. It's more on the veracity of the information.
Okay.
Yeah.
For example, one of the things that also brought us to this project is whenever there would be a controversy with
Mhm.
the holy involving the Holy Father, some of our friends would come to us and ask me or ask Claire, "Oh, I heard this that the Holy Father said this or that. What's your take on that?" And at that moment, we would not respond because
Right.
we were not in the possession of the facts yet.
Mhm.
Usually, these controversies become clarified when the dust settles.
Mhm.
So, our point is not to keep producing content.
Right.
It's not to have. It's not quantity.
Mhm.
It's about credibility. That what
Beautiful.
we put out has been fact checked, is truthful. Uh,
Knowing the context.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, put things on their due context. So we might not be the first,
Mhm.
but when we put something out, yes, it is
Oh,
with
I confess that's usually my response. Oh, something happened. Let me see what Pedro has said. No, nothing, lad. You give him 2 days, or where Peter is in general. Let's talk
yes,
about that for
yes.
a second. Why did you pick the name "City in the World"? What's the inspiration behind that?
It's a Latin phrase for urbi et orbi.
Hmm.
It's an English translation of urbi et orbi.
Yeah,
Yep.
urbi et
And we
Okay.
orbi.
thought, well, urbi is the city of Rome, the Vatican, and orbi is the world. So it's actually a very nice name
Okay.
for a journalism
It's
site.
basically to everyone.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not just about the Pope.
Hmm.
Okay, it's not just about the Pope. Anything that might be interesting from a Catholic perspective,
Okay.
we might try to cover.
So is that what makes it different to where Peter is? Like, can you expound on that? How is it different to what is already
Yeah, where
going on with where Peter is?
where Peter is has apologetics.
Hmm.
We don't want to do apologetics unless it's in an indirect way in
Okay.
which by putting out the truth we are doing apologetics, but this is journalism.
Yes.
Okay, and where Peter is about trying to put forth the vision of the Pope, etc., but we are not just focused on the Pope. Okay,
Gotcha.
as I
Okay.
said, it's the city and it's the world.
Hmm.
So that's the thing. This is more a journalism project.
Fantastic. And so you're covering uh, just all over the world, different things that are going on. I think I saw a reference to sacramentals and, well, the sacraments. And what are some of the different kinds of things that you'll be writing about?
Well,
Anything with related to the faith can be devotions or even
mhm.
maybe some pilgrimage sites. Something that would nourish our faith, foster the faith in us. So
Hmm.
it's not just journalism. Also, yeah,
Yes,
that's on the side.
I remember, for instance, that we also produced an article that also was published in Where Peter is about when we went to Vista Alegre, a place in Portugal that it was a community that was founded around the factory in which the founder of that in the 19th century, he by founding this factory, he also wanted to found a community around the factory with church, theater. So it's not just paying a wage to the workers; it's trying to uh, create a humane environment in which they can flourish as human beings. So many people don't know about that. So
Hmm.
and we decided to write write about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's and there are many hidden treasures around the world that can be brought to light
Hmm.
in
So
this way.
are you inviting people to write and submit, or at this point, is it primarily through things that you two directly have access to or experience?
That's something we're still
For now, it is a couple's
a
project.
couple
Makes sense.
project
Okay.
and then focus on the journalism first,
Hmm.
and
Yes.
then we would improve along the way
Mhm.
or grow. Let's see.
Hmm.
Yes. For now, it's our project,
Hmm.
and let's see what the
Oh,
future brings.
good. So as you continue to respond to things, or as things come up, and you're starting to do your own research, and as Claire has mentioned before, your systematic investigative approach on whatever the topic is, this is where people can expect to go to find your content first before perhaps other places. Is that the idea?
Well, of course, since it's our own thing, of course, it's put out there.
Hmm.
Basically, that's it.
Okay, fantastic. How can people find you online? What's the website?
The website is thecityintheworld.com. So they could see on the upper right, there's the social media link, so they could just click on and follow
Mhm.
us. We might also have an email subscription so they could just enter their email. So for those who don't have social media accounts.
Wonderful. And for those who are part of our Smart Catholics community, Pedro and Claire are completely welcome to be sharing that in there with us. People can then learn and comment and follow as well. So thank you both, Pedro and Claire, for coming on today, for sharing the exciting new project that you're doing. And I really hope that people take time to follow it and learn from you, because I confess in the last 2 years, both of you have been a really big part of my own faith journey in learning to be more measured and not knee-jerk reaction to all of the Twitter headlines that seem to derail so many of us. So thank you both for starting this project.
Thank you. Thank you also for your Smart Catholics platform. I think you've helped a lot of people actually.
Well,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And thank you also for inviting us
Thank
for
you
this
for having
interview.
us.
It's been a pleasure.
Wonderful. Well, I'm just going to wrap with a quick little note for those who aren't yet familiar with what Smart Catholics is. It's a community for regular devout Catholics who are tired of toxicity and looking to live their faith in the modern world. This show, the Smart Catholics show, it's hosted by yours truly, founder of Smart Catholics. We're building this community. It's largely for millennials, creators, learners who want faithful conversations, unafraid of doubts and questions. Together, let's get smarter. So come and check us out at smartcatholics.com. and have a look at thecityandtheworld.com to follow Pedro and Claire's work. Till next time, God bless you.